What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Honey I'm Home podcast. I'm Priz.
And I'm Talin, and we have the most
Specialist.
the most
Of the mostest.
special guest ever. My mother.
Hi.
Cheers.
Well, Mom, say your name.
Hello, I'm Monique.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to that.
It's all almost done. How you
Cheers.
feeling?
Cheers, Mom.
A little nervous, but I feel good.
Nervous for what?
It's a regular
It's just us.
conversation.
It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
How's your LA week been?
Oh, it couldn't have been better. I was dealing with a little stressful time, and to have the opportunity for my daughter to you guys to just say, hey, come out, have an opportunity to spend a week. I've got some great exercise in. I've really been enjoying myself.
Good.
If you could have changed one thing, what would it be?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Maybe us not going to sleep as early as we've been going to sleep. Like, do you want a wild LA night, or are you like, no, I'm okay?
Well, you know what? Really, this has been very therapeutic for me. So
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
Not to say that every single time I come to visit.
Next time. Let's stay up till midnight.
Yeah, I'd like a little turn up, but I mean, this is exactly what I needed. And
Yeah.
I'm very
Well,
appreciative.
I feel like this time you came, like, we made it a point to like do things,
Yeah.
versus like you just like, oh, she's visiting, so we'll just like
Right.
whatever.
Go out to eat and just chill.
go out to eat and chill. Like this time we're like actually doing activities. Like we went to San Diego for a day. We walked into Mexico. I've never walked into Mexico.
Yeah, that was a great experience.
Yeah, and I thought it was her first time. I was like, oh my God, like your first time walking into Mexico. She was like, no, sweetie. Been there, done that.
It was the first time with you. So,
Yeah, so that was cute.
so it was good.
Yeah, that was cute.
What do we have? Questions.
Okay, you have some questions?
Yes. Well, I mean, I feel like we both do.
Okay. Well, what's your question first?
So, Talon's with a woman. Me.
I'm that woman.
Let's start from the very beginning.
Okay.
Let's start there. How did you
I'm nervous.
figure it out?
What are you saying?
She knows what I'm saying. You do.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I never figured it out
How did it come
because
about?
Talin, in my experience, when she was living in Michigan, Talin has always been in male-female relationships.
Heterosexual.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
You want to get
Yeah.
to the head more.
okay. Blame it on the. So I never figured it out. I mean, she did have a couple of friends in Michigan that I knew that were gay, but I mean, she was always in a heterosexual relationship.
So that thought never even crossed your mind. Right?
Well, it was some.
Yeah,
it was
did
one
the
person-
thought ever cross your mind? Because I did have,
Friends.
yeah,
well, I guess there was one.
friends and friends.
But at the same time, I knew that from her experiences and who she brought around the house, it was only one time that I did question. I'm like,
You never said anything.
I never said anything because you had a boyfriend before then and you were going out, that I didn't think at that time. I was like, I did wonder, like, wow, why is her friend group seemed to change some. She gave no signs for me to think,
It wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
It just like the thought came in.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was like, because I know it was somebody that really and she mentioned, her name a lot, and I never met her. And so that was the one flag that I had, because the people that have really been significant in Talon's life, I always.
So now it matches up.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. And things
Not that I felt like you would ever judge anybody, because that's just not you. But I think me knowing what I was doing and not like, I was just like,
I know.
That might not be approved of. So
yeah,
stay away.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just like
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
And it may have been a part, of course, hindsight is 2020 all the time. So, and looking back now, it would have been a different set of questions, but maybe because I never thought of it being that way. I knew she had, guys that she liked, that she was involved with. And maybe it may have been a part deep down inside I didn't want to ask the question.
You didn't want to know
She
the
didn't
answer.
come around.
I feel like you didn't want to know the answer.
Right. So I didn't ask
Ask.
the
Ask, don't
question.
that's fine.
Yeah. So
Don't ask,
yeah.
don't
So
tell.
maybe
Yeah.
it was
So when was the moment where you hit, obviously, yes, my daughter?
Well, and like I said, even when she, relocated, I mean, I knew that there were people that were interested in her.
Women that were interested.
Well, I knew men were interested in her. I didn't quite know the women
Women
at the
aspect,
time.
yeah.
But I received a phone call from Talin one day that
Talk about it. Let's all drink to the phone.
Let's all drink to the phone call. I'm like,
The moment of truth.
I received a phone call and
What the hell? Not working on it. All right. It can't be that funny or you're uncomfortable. I can't tell.
she's probably uncomfortable.
She's shaking in her boots. Damn.
I received a phone call and she was with her person at the time. Partner. Yeah, I don't.
I don't really
That's
know
one
the
thing
difference.
that you guys have to fill me in.
I'm still like new to all that. Like I feel
yeah,
like I say
honestly, it's a
person more than
lot. It's a whole community that has their own lingo and language and dialogue that like I'm even still learning.
So I don't mean to be disrespectful, or it's just that I'm naive to a lot of the verbiage.
Where I can correct you, I will. Where I don't even know, I'm like, help us.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys helping me through this journey. But so she was with her partner at the time, and one thing that it was kind of difficult to be able to digest because she had the person there, and maybe it was probably more comfortable.
But you didn't know that was her person.
Yeah, that was her coming out to let me know that she was dating someone of the same sex. And
what did I say?
Well, when you said it, because it was my,
I had them there.
Yeah, because it was because it was my response that I heard, them in the background. Because the first thing that you think as a parent when something like that happens, and it's definitely no disrespect, it's like, did I do something? Did I expose her to something? Was she, while she was in my care, did something happen to her where I wasn't aware of that has caused this to happen?
Do you feel like you felt that way because in your mind it was like, this is just like a light bulb situation? So were you like, oh, is she just like, oh, she moved out to LA? Is she being exposed to certain things? Or did I expose her to certain things? Or did I, was that
something happened in your childhood that made it happen?
But let me give a little bit of background too. I feel like you also came from a very like religious standpoint.
I'm like, is that also
this isn't quote unquote normal? So coming from a religious standpoint, something had to have gone wrong.
It could have been. I didn't think about it in the aspect of religion or spirituality. I thought strictly because, of course, in reading certain things, you hear people say, just in their own testimonies, that they've experienced X, Y, Z in their life. Abuse and things of that. Yeah, it was strictly
like a safety.
Yeah, I was coming strictly from a safety standpoint.
And what you have heard from other
individuals. So so my thing was, gosh, did I do something, or was I neglectful in some area that has caused her to be a certain way?
Yeah. I feel like more times than not, a lot of it doesn't even have to do with the parents. It has nothing to do with you guys. It's nothing personal. It's just who we are. And I think parents just want to take that responsibility on to be
just naturally as a parent. Anything out the norm, like I feel like a parent would be like, well, hold on, like what was I telling? Like, you know what I mean? Like
did I not say the right thing?
Yeah. Did I not let them know that common sense is something you should use? Why would you ever think to do it? You know what I mean? Like anything, I feel like, especially super hands-on parents, which I feel like you obviously were / still are a very hands-on parent. Yeah. So it's like, like you kind of want to take responsibility and ownership for every little thing, but it's like you can't.
Yeah, and they do their own thing. They make their own decisions, and it's like you really have no control. You have a
say, but you don't have control.
Yeah. But you did the best you could up until this point.
Which I feel like I told you, like once I was just like, no, this has nothing to do with you. You didn't do nothing wrong. This has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with like anything. It just has to do with like I grew up and what I like and what I don't.
Yeah. Yes, that was the hard thing, because for me, Talin and I mean, Talin has been the love of my life since she was born. Mm-hmm. So, and we were like, we've always been super, super close. So the difficult part for me is to speak to other people that had experienced Talin being her authentic self. At times when it's like, maybe the wool was over my eyes. Maybe I didn't see what I should have seen, but she kept it from me. And it's like, I want her to trust me enough to know that whatever
it's like you kept it for, though. Cause I don't really even feel like that was that long for real. Like, how long do you feel like you knew from the moment that you called your mom?
It was probably a while. Cause the first girl that I ever really talked to like that was in high school. So like my senior year, years. Like my senior year of high school. So remember
maybe you were more hurt at the
She was more hurt,
like,
yeah.
Hey, you can't tell me this.
Yeah.
You didn't feel comfortable or trust my whatever it was enough.
Super things too. It really doesn't happen because there's so much like outside noise that we're like, okay, I'm getting judged by the world. The last thing I want to do is disappoint a parent. So it really has us not saying something sometimes doesn't have anything to do with you. It has a little bit, but not a lot. Sometimes.
I feel like, especially when you have parents that are very religious and, I think over time I feel like you're still extremely religious, but I think that you have broadened and opened up your relationship to the world and God, and you're a very spiritual person, as now versus everything just so by the book. So I think me growing up knowing how religious you are, I think I was more so she's not gonna mess with this, so maybe I'll just keep it a secret because I'm still figuring it out, versus now knowing how you've even evolved, because that's also another misconception too. Our parents do what they can with what they got, but our parents are still human at the end of the day, and you guys are still growing and still learning and growing and doing things and evolving, forever evolving. So it's now I feel like you're to the point where it's it makes more sense or it's easier for me to say certain things that are on my mind about X, Y, and Z because I don't feel So
you felt that I would judge.
I feel like you were just so Bible thumping. So I feel really? And I feel but this is weird. This is where it gets weird though, because I feel like you would always love me regardless, no matter what. But I just feel like you were very but the Bible says,
Yeah.
So it's that to me, it was I know she'll love me, but I don't want her to be disappointed.
I don't want to hear it too.
And I also probably don't want to hear it.
Do you feel like any of your perspectives from your grandma maybe rubbed off on your mom and you were well, they're kind of just both on the same page, so let me not say anything, period?
Oh, 1,000%, because once you get to a generation up, that's even more Yeah,
but I think
what I mean?
Had she known, I think that,
But I think at the end of the day, you guys both just love me so much that it doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe would I have heard little comments, especially from her? you know how she loves a little comment out there.
Throw,
some little jabs, some little shit. Oh, well, da-da-da-da. Oh, just kidding.
Because
your little girlfriend. Just kidding. You know what I mean? But it's at the end of the day, would she have loved Pete? Absolutely. Yeah. Would she have loved whoever I bring,
Yeah.
As long as they were a good person, yes.
But then you have to understand too, we grew up, my mom grew up in the Catholic religion, which it was more ritualistic. This is what you do and don't do. And I'm surprised. My thing is not so much being religious, but having that personal relationship with God.
Exactly.
So
which I feel you've
more
so from religion, super religious, to having your own relationship with God, and that looks and different.
You move different.
You move different.
Yeah.
So
because it's not because of in black and white this is said, but it's because that you know that you have that personal connection.
Yeah.
So how do you feel now having that personal connection with God and your faith and your beliefs, and just knowing your daughter is now, on this end or whatever? However you guys want to phrase it, don't know. How do you feel
on this end of the spectrum?
How do you feel nowadays?
From the day that I told you to coming to now.
Wait, so what? I'm sorry, we still didn't even fully. One conversation leads to another, but how? So that day specifically, you found out, but what was your response in that moment? Like, did you say?
I don't think that I said. I think that I was kind of in. No, I think I was kind of in shock. Even though a few years prior, there was one person that was like, this doesn't seem right, and I knew that it was something not right in my spirit about the person. But then after that, she was involved in another.
Not right in your spirit because of who they were, or because of
you were moving, and of course you automatically associate well, she's different.
So what is
and her association has been strong with someone. Something's off.
Something that she's telling me is not right.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's off. Yeah. So, but then fast forward a little while after she was in a relationship, in a heterosexual relationship. Excuse me. But I do recall one of your friends when you first moved here, and I'm sure that it was when you were meeting P that she got ready to mention something. You kind of nudged her like. And now I realize fast forward because it wasn't soon after that I found. No, she mentioned to me.
Know her? No, because I didn't know her at that time.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I don't mean.
Must have been somebody else.
It's probably bottom line is your situation in Beverly Hills. You had met someone and you really didn't say. It was Brooke. Brooke was asking you.
Somebody else.
It had to be because you're the only person that needs to know.
Unless you didn't say mom.
Oh
my God! What is going on?
The one that you worked with at the clothing.
Brooke.
I said, well, did you talk to so-and-so? But you cut her down like, and of course me as a parent, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my daughter.
Before that, because
you didn't tell me about, you didn't mention anything about because
I didn't mention nothing.
Liked you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But you didn't tell her to post.
Okay.
She liked her back, and then they tried to
let's
get in
relax.
there.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Or you can cut the cameras. So you can do.
Oh, wait, they rolling.
Morgan.
Yes. Were y'all together? Y'all were together, right?
Really?
Oh, sorry.
It was a thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you didn't feel comfortable telling your mom.
Yeah.
Maybe you were like, maybe it's not that serious. So
Yeah.
I tell my parents about something that's not that serious. Like I just don't feel like bringing somebody around who's not gonna stay around.
Okay.
Maybe it was.
Wow, that's something. Okay.
And
so when the phone call came in, to me, that's when it hit for me.
Mm-hmm.
That wow.
Thing.
Yeah, like
Okay,
it's the dynamics of Talin's life may possibly change, and I'm looking at it from, like I have all of my friends now, for the most part, they all have grandkids. They're all taking them. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, it's like, wow, the dynamic is going to shift because there are things that I'm thinking as I age that I could look forward to that it may, it may.
So I'm assuming those things that you're thinking is after the phone call ended, and you're just like in your head.
Yeah, like, I'm in my head at that time, and then like I said, the primary thought was, wow, where did I miss this? Because I am very in tune
and tapped in and in it. And nosy McRosy
Do you
Kings.
feel like this is the only aspect of Talon's life that you're like kind of kind of like out of the loop in?
My daughter is definitely an individual, and she's definitely she has a mind of her own, and I think that now she shares with me those things that she wants to when she feels comfortable. I think that things have evolved in life. I know that for me, I want to know And I want to be, because I love and I want the very best for her. I want to be able to be involved in every single part of her life. But then I have to understand that she's grown, and, I have to respect the boundaries. And I feel that she knows that I love her enough when she's comfortable enough to be able to share other things. But to answer your question, do I feel like that's the only aspect? No, but I know that I grew up in a household where my mother was like, did, because she wanted the best. I know that that's why she did it. And it was, it wasn't easy for her. And she wanted things to be better for her children than they were for her. And I want the same thing. So I think that mine isn't did, because I know it feels like, and I know where it comes from, which is a good place. But I came from, oh, well, share and let me know. But it doesn't matter how you come at it. If they're not ready to share it, they're not going to share it. And I believe and trust that when it's, even though I want to know more. And like she said, Mom, that's insignificant. Why is that even a big deal? Why are you?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you went to the grocery store today? You didn't tell me that. It's like, Mom, I get it, because it's like we live so far away from each other. Yeah. And that I get it, but it's like
vicariously through you, because I know my mom every her day-to-day is very mundane. You know what I'm saying?
Very different from yours.
So she's like, well, did you step on a rock today? Like,
was it a sharp rock or a dull rock?
Was
it light or was it dark? Was it a hot stone or a cool stone?
Yeah. Every little detail I can give is
And that's all it is. It's not, and I think that kids, because I know that for me, when when my mom was here, it's like, gosh, that's nosy, but it's really nosy. It's like, I just want to feel a part. And one thing, I'm not going to divert from the questions, but that's one dynamic that I realized, that in Talin being in a relationship with you, it's not just a relationship, it's the friendship, it's the female to female. We need to have that connection. And that's one thing that when Talin was in heterosexual relationships, I think that I got more of the everyday whatever, because that's not stuff that you discuss with your man. Whereas you guys now, you all are both female, so you can talk about the same. You're interested in the same things. You talk, share.
Or like, even if you're not interested, like, you'll still just like, you're like my soundboard. How the other day, literally, when I was talking to you about something, you were like, "Dang, I ain't hear this story yet." Like, and it's like, I'm like, that's how my mom feels all the time, because she's like, dang, you don't call me and just like chat the shit, pretty much.
Going off of, okay, so you felt what you felt, and how do you feel like you feel now? Let's go back to that question.
I mean, at the end of the day, I want Talin to learn, and what she's doing, figuring out truly what makes her happy and what brings her joy and what her destiny is and what her journey is. And I'm just here to share in it. And I look at the dynamics of the two of your relationship, and that's what I want. Somebody that loves her, that has her back, that is routing for her, shouting out for her, and she's doing the same, where you all can learn and grow and be happy. And whether, in my mind, honestly, I picture that being a man, but at the end of the day, I see how I see the dynamics of the relationship. And you're somebody that truly cares about my daughter, and for me, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. I want somebody that has her back, that loves her. And it doesn't matter, whether it be male, female. And do I have friends that still believe, out of whatever they may hear or understand. But at the end of the day, I ride for my children, and whatever brings them joy, peace, and happiness, as long as it's not something that's detrimental or hurting. Because Talin and I have had conversations about people that I felt like didn't have her best interest or weren't good for her, even though they may have felt they didn't know what, we're all figuring it out and evolving. But if they're not in a good place, how can they figure out what a good place is for you? And sometimes when you care and love for somebody, and I know that my daughter has a heart for the people that she cares and loves about, and she's going to ride for them. Sometimes if it's somebody, they can really derail you off your track. And I believe that this is a synergy there. I believe you're true, authentic, you're real people. I know she's true, real, authentic people. And I know that together, I feel it's a good fit. And I mean, relationships have
ups and
downs regardless. But at the end of the day, when you strip all of that away, I mean, I like you for her.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh.
That might be the clip of the day. I'm not crying. You are. It's all about like what's gonna make people happy. Yeah. You know, and then also just sharing that with the people that you love. Yeah. You want to be.
And I think also too, at the end of the day, like we're so close that it's just like you're like, okay, well, as long as you're not harming yourself or someone else, that's like it. Okay, like that's I'll get with it. Like, you know, like I'll you know what I mean? And it's like that's okay, you know, to be able to be like, all right, I'm either thinking this way about it now, but you know, I love you, so that's okay. Like, do you feel like that's if there's someone else out there that you know, is like struggling to tell their parents, or they know that their parents are super religious or super this or super that. Like, kid came to you and was like, I feel like
my parents aren't accepting of X, Y,
and Z, but I know that I embody this. Like, what do I do? How do I tell them?
I think that just like I didn't know for you know, I didn't know for many years. I think the biggest advice is you have to really look at yourself as an individual and say, hey, if this is truly who my child is, do I want them in my life or not in my life? So at the end of the day, as long as it's not something destructive to you, I want to be in your life.
Yeah. So it's like I can figure it out. I can get
right. Yeah. And if it's something where I mean I felt somebody was beating you, abusing you, something like that, then I'm going to take a stand because it's like I can't allow this because I don't want you to be. You're grown, but I can't stand by and accept this in my life. But you're flourishing. You're growing. You're figuring out your steps. You're making it happen. How could I want to be a part of it. So at the end of the day, either I'm going to be a part of, and I want you to be true to you, because it doesn't matter what you acquire or where you get in life. If you don't feel like you can be you around the people that you love and care about, what is it all about then? I don't want to be in a facade. I don't want to be fake. I want this to be real. So, I mean,
you know, it's so sad, not to go to like a negative aspect, but a lot of some parents would rather have their kid be beaten up and in a really toxic situation versus it looks a certain way versus in a really healthy but maybe not by the book or by their book type of way. They would rather have you know be in that, and that's so sad. It's so detrimental to the whole family and the kids if kids are involved, you know.
But then you have to reach back and understand what trauma, what has the parent gone through for them to be just like cross such a line to say no, because then you're not looking at the individual.
Right.
You're looking at whatever your thoughts, society, with the word, whatever it is that says. But just one thing, you know, I am not well versed as far as knowing every verse in the scripture. One sin is no bigger than the other. So for you to judge your child or to say that your child, this, that, and the other can't, then you need to look at yourself too, because you know, if you spit, if you say a cuss word, if you think something wrong, no sin is greater than the other. And who are we to judge? And we're here to commune and to love and be with one another. And that's what we have to do.
Amen to that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a whole spiel.
That
snaps. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just super important to have these conversations and be open to them and be able to like talk freely without judgment. I appreciate your insight very much so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love you even more.
Any last words that you would like to say? Any advice that you would give your kids or any kids out there struggling with this specific topic?
I would just say that, you know, definitely find a community, find a person, find someone that you could talk to share the information, and definitely if you have the type of relationship or you want to cultivate the type of relationship, that, in order for you to be able to go to your because it is important. I'm sure that it's not easy, even though it's easier now than back in my time coming up. I'm sure that it's not easy, but never feel alone. Make sure that you find somebody that you can go to and share, because you know what, when we keep things bottled up and bottled in, it's only one mind, it's only one resource that we're coming from is our own. And you need to be able to have an objective viewpoint.
And what is the thing that you always tell me? Dis-ease causes, what is it?
Yeah, dis-ease causes disease. And it causes disease in your body, and you gotta get it out. You gotta reach out, and maybe in time, if it's not your mom or dad, maybe it's an aunt, an uncle, a cousin. Find somebody that you can talk to, and it's nothing wrong with being you. You got to be comfortable in being you, because what a waste to walk through your life and to do things according to everybody else's rules and perspective, which I've been guilty of. And then you feel so empty. But at the end of the day, if you can be true to yourself, then you open up, and it opens up a world of opportunity for you, and you have peace. And that's what it's about. You want to be peaceful in this world.
Yeah, right. No, we were going to church on a Saturday. Cheers to that. Cheers. I love you so much. Cheers to you.
Authentic self. Thank y'all for tapping in with us one more time. Honey, I'm home. I'm Pris.
I'm Talin.
And I'm Monique.
Cheers.
Good job,
wow.
guys.
That was great.
That was good job, Mom.